Hello there, Internet. MegaMogwai here, coming at you with a React Andy special, as we are going to be talking about RENEKTON, who is the new champion from the upcoming region Shurima. I guess his actual name is, he's RENEKTON. You know, if you have a problem with me calling him RENEKTON, then I'm sorry, he's RENEKTON. RENEKTON the Crocodile is a champion that I don't really know much about. I do know that he's supposed to be the brother of like this other champion that looks a bit like a jaguar or a bit like a wolf, something like that, right? They used to be brothers, but now they hate each other when they're like animals. So I don't. Yeah, I should have. I've looked into more. You know, I was expecting stuff like Azir, right off the bat. So I was more prepared for that. RENEKTON was not my prediction for the first champion reveal, so I'm not as prepared. But I think that'll make it even more raw. And raw is good. I don't know. I'm just afraid of everything I say being taken out of context. So let's go ahead and react to Andy this bitch, and make sure that I'm actually recording, because that would be really embarrassing if I wasn't. Okay, let's go.
As I live, all will die.
All right, chill guy. Could have a beer with him. Level up the Ascended. We saw these cards yesterday, but I did not do a video on them because like I said, I've been really busy with the move and stuff, and I just could not get a video for yesterday night. So I figured, I didn't know, but I had a feeling that today we're gonna get a champion reveal anyway. So I'm gonna talk about these cards that were revealed on Mobalytics yesterday in the latter portion of this video, after we talk about RENEKTON and all that good stuff. But we see here the 1 mana landmark. Like, as soon as I saw a landmark for 1 mana, the first thing that came to my head is Lulu's Rock. There was this really neat tweet about Lulu's Rock having to be a landmark for 1 mana, and I really support that. Number 2, the fact that it's a 1 mana landmark, and that's actually very, very interesting, because we haven't seen one before, and having the ability to set up a landmark turn 1, it has a lot of implications. So I was very intrigued to see what it would do. And as you can see here, this is kind of like a similar design to Star Spring, but more convoluted, definitely. As we see, start of the game, draw 1 of me if all your cards are Shuriman. So this card is basically saying, if you have a full-on Shuriman Allegiance deck, you will draw me in your opener every single game. So you will be able to play me on turn 1 every single time. And that is, in a card game, that's just absolutely massive. Like, this converts from a card to like a rook in chess, you know? Like, you're always going to have that at the beginning. Maybe a pawn would be more of a better analogy. I don't know, but it's always going to be there. And that is, there's no words that can describe just how amazing that is in card games. So very, very powerful effect. Countdown 25, restore the sun disc. When an ascendant ally levels up, advance me 10 rounds. There's only a lot of very confusing things about this text. What the fuck is a sun disc? And what the fuck is an ascendant ally, right? Good questions. I don't know. Let's figure out. There's my mouse.
I'll rend a bloody path through.
Okay. Give me a second. I'm gonna try to pause as little as possible, but I gotta take this shit in. 4 mana, 4/4 with Overwhelm. Not surprised there. Up until that point, you know, I knew there's gonna be a beefy attacker, right? When I challenge an enemy, give me +2/+1 this round. Level up. I've dealt 12 plus damage. So a very relatively straightforward design. This is definitely what I expected for the likes of RENEKTON or even his, brother, right? I expect him to be like melee sort of type champions. And yeah, it's interesting to see that it says when I challenge an enemy. So there must be something that can give him challenge, because he does not have the challenge keyword right off the bat. So let's see.
Glorious battle.
Oh, vulnerable. Does vulnerable count?
Where I go, card.
Oh, so this is very interesting. When you attack a vulnerable unit, it does technically count as if you're challenging them. That's super relevant. That's super, super relevant. That's a lot of implications. Already, this card can combine, like, this champion can combine really well with Bilgewater, because there's a shitload of like, not only do you have You've Been Warned, but you have, the Hired Gun, amongst other things, right? The problem is, if you do combine this with any other region, then you're not playing the landmark. But I don't know just how, it doesn't seem like the landmark is really connected too much with you know, Reggaeton here, but maybe I'm wrong.
It follows.
Smack him. It's been a while since we've seen that. -2 and vulnerable.
Weak coward. Face your end.
Wait. Give an enemy -4 and disable its combat keywords. It's combat keywords. Combat keywords? What are combat keywords exactly? Fearsome, elusive, challenger. Is regeneration a combat keyword? Quick attack definitely is. Is barrier a combat keyword? I'm not sure. Like, this is not clear to me what it's actually nullifying. Because this is coming off like, honestly, this is like a hush. This is basically a hush. Not exactly, but it is. Like, it takes away elusive, definitely. It takes away, like, it makes it so you can block anything. You take away overwhelm as well. It's a hush. It's Shurima's own version of hush. Really, really interesting.
Face your end.
Deal more damage. Okay, that's sick. That's sick as hell. Oh my god, animation, I gotta watch that again. What the fuck? That's so sick. With the roar at the end. What an alpha. Oh man. This is one of my favorites, dude. Holy shit, Reggaeton. Yeah, boy. Attack, give me +3/+3 this round. No challenging, no more of that bullshit. Level up, you've restored the Sun Disc. So he is ascended, but does, okay, it says ascended here, but is he ascended originally? Because I haven't looked at that. He is ascended, so ascended is like a keyword, or maybe like a tribe even, like elite, right? It's a type of unit. And the thing that we've seen with Ascendeds is that, and the thing that Shurima is going to introduce to the game is the potential ability to level up more than once. Because as you guys can see, there is a second level up stage for leveled up Reggaeton. We're going to see that animation first though. Again. God, I love it. Sick. Alright, so when you restored the Sun Disc, you level up. Yeah, that's a very scary attacker. It's a very scary attacker. We've seen this card yesterday. We finally see this in action though. Whoa! Whoa! Super Saiyan Reggaeton! Wait, go back. When I block or attack, deal 2 to enemies and the enemy nexus. So, Jesus Christ, 10-10? Okay, so basically win the game. Like, Gangplank on steroids, ladies and gentlemen. Gangplank on steroids. Yeah, I like how he's grabbing his brother by the neck. That's his brother, right? Like, these are brothers. That's what chat told me on my stream the other day, but maybe I got debated. I don't know. Wow. So the landmark dies after it converts. Clean. Okay, that's dope as hell. I wasn't too excited about Reggaeton initially, but after seeing that animation, I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. Let's go ahead and move on to Twitter and take a look at the new cards and actually see all of this together in a bigger picture. English. Transition. Go! Alright, here we are. I am covering Reggaeton's private parts, and I am making sure that I'm not over any of the cards. Because in past videos, I have always like been over like the card on the bottom right, and you guys couldn't read it. So now you can see everything. You're welcome. Little by little, I'm becoming a more and more professional YouTuber. Only took me like 6 years. Alright, Reggaeton, as we see the 3 different forms right here, we see Reggaeton's Ruthless Predator, so this will be indeed his signature spell, which says give an ally +2 attack and an enemy vulnerable this round. So this is interesting because if we compare this to You've Been Warned for 1 mana will draw you a card if you eliminate the unit, right? But it is slow speed. This can be utilized alongside an open attack. It does allow you to push for more damage, and this card is actually very, very relevant in not only in like with Reggaeton himself, but also this card is really powerful on any deck that wants to utilize Overwhelm, right? Rico Rex probably honestly has had a couple of wet dreams with this card already, because this card allows, you can use this onto like Tryndamere, right? Give him +2 attack and then challenge or give the weakest 1 health unit vulnerable, and all of a sudden you're guaranteeing, or you're threatening rather, a shitload of damage with your attack, right? With a 2 mana burst speed spell alone. So really, really powerful card, more than you would expect at first, just because the fact that you're giving something vulnerable, like Shakedown is much harder to enable than this. You're paying 1 more mana, but you're getting a 2 attack boost, and that just goes a long way, man. Really, very, very powerful card in the right deck, and definitely mixes really well with Reggaeton for obvious reasons. Right of Dominance, man. This entire just package is pure alpha and reptilian and yeah, things. Right of Dominance says kill an ally or destroy a mana gem to give all enemies -2 this round. Wow. Wow. This card is awesome. A mana gem. Like in a pinch, you can use this in the late game and just be like, hey, I'm gonna get 10 mana next turn anyways, you know? Or maybe no, actually you don't get that anymore. If you destroy a mana gem, I would assume you don't gain, like that slot is over for the rest of the game. Am I wrong? Or are you just like losing a mana gem and you're like delaying your curve 1 turn? It's one of the two, right? And I'm not exactly sure, because we've never had a card that takes away mana gems, right? And killing an ally makes it so that this card could find, like maybe Shurima Undying is a thing. Who knows? Like, you know, Ruthless Predator is really good with the Undying, and Right of Dominance as well. Right of Dominance can give the Undying some much needed defense. Like maybe Shurima is the evolution for that archetype. Like I always think about the Undying whenever we get new cards. I really like the Undying. Have you noticed? Really, really cool set of cards. Like there's not a single card here. Obviously, like 3 slots are the same, right? But really, really like where things are going. Let's actually take a look at the other cards that were mentioned here, Mobilytics. Yeah, here we go. I don't know if you guys can see this properly, actually. No, I don't know if you can. I think I can do a little bit of a better job. All right, here we go. I'm all over the place, so you guys can see today. My webcam is like, it's like Tetris. So I'm right here where I'm not in the way of anything. As you guys can see, we see the 3 sets of Reggaeton here and his signature spell. But we also see a bunch of cards that I haven't seen announced anywhere else. So we got a lot to talk about in this video. So let's actually just jump into it immediately. So let's go through this. First of all, Bloodthirsty Marauder. We're getting a 1 mana 3/1. Oh my god, dude. The Legion Rearguard is just crying in a corner right now. Like, oh my lord. Very interesting. Really powerful for aggressive decks. Just having a 3/1 turn 1, dealing 3 damage goes a long way. But it's not like it's much better than the Legion Saboteur, really. I think both are on the same power level, really. So pretty fair card. Vanilla, a little bit boring in a way, but with 1-drops you can't get too creative, right? We got Bakai Sand Spinner. Really cool art. Like I already want this card to be good. 4 mana 5/5. I mean that's already good. It may have a downside effect. Play, grant an enemy -1 and oh no wait, it's a 5/3. I don't know why I read a 5/5. As soon as I read this, I was like, this is like super broken. But no, this is actually really neat. The 3 health definitely holds it back, but it's a pretty beefy body. It's a decently like beefed up body that has a really strong effect. You grant an enemy -1 power and vulnerable. It's like Hired Gun, right? But you control what you're targeting, and that means that you can target the weakest unit and again push for overwhelm damage. Like Shurima can definitely be like, you can build an overwhelm archetype out of it for sure. Raz Bloodmane, what a dope looking card. 7 mana, 6/6, fearsome. Give enemies -2 this round. So basically, the non-tribal version of Terror of the Tides comes in 1 turn earlier, has a decent stat line, and yeah, like it works really well with fearsome decks. I don't know if this is gonna find a home, honestly, because it feels it's a very slow play, right? And you know what they say about Runeterra epics. But interesting concept nonetheless. It's nice to see like a more universal variant of an effect like this. Because I do, like, Terror of the Tides has been really powerful, but it's been forever since I played Deep, so kind of forget about it for a bit. Exhaust, what does focus mean? What is focus? Give an enemy -2 and vulnerable this round. What does focus mean? I don't know. I'm confused. We saw Quicksand. We saw Rite of Dominance. Unworthy. Give an enemy follower -4 this round. If you have fewer mana gems than your opponent, kill it instead. Oh my god. You can sacrifice mana gems and then have a 2 mana slow speed spell that will kill anything. That is really, really interesting. So you're sacrificing. Wow. I didn't even think about this from a design perspective. This is really neat. I don't know if like destroying one of your mana gems is ever gonna be worthy or worth it. I was reading the name of the card. But that's actually really sacrifice. This card can be really powerful. Like the ability to destroy something for just 2 mana, like anything, that's crazy. That's crazy. That is really interesting. Dominus Destruction is a skill. Deal 2 to enemies and the enemy nexus. Oh, I believe that is yeah, that is Reggaeton's ability. We got the Restored Sun Disc. Immediately draw 1 for all of your ascendants. For the rest of the game, your level 2 ascendants are level 3, and this just like destroys itself. So it can't be removed, which I really like. And the rest of the cards we actually did not talk about. All right, I spoke about this in my stream, but I'm gonna go over them again. So basically, Destined Poro I absolutely love. I love this design. I think Destined Poro can actually work really well with Katarina potentially. Katarina is one of the easiest champions to level up. So if you level up Katarina, then you have a 1 mana 2/2 with 3 random keywords, and that's just insane, right? Like imagine if you get stuff like Scout, Elusive, and Lifesteal. I don't know, man. There's so many crazy combinations that can just get really out of hand. So I will be trying a Destined Poro Katarina deck, amongst other things for sure. We got the Esteemed Hierophant, which has basically a Loyo Badger Bear that progresses your Restored or your Buried Sun Disc, which, you know, there's not much more to say about it. Vanilla stat line, solid card, and I think it's hard to believe it won't be a staple in, you know, Buried Sun Disc decks. And then we have Devoted Council. If you level the champion, here are your champions and Nexus 2. So a more defensive option that definitely does not fit with the likes of Katarina, I would say. But in other, like, slower, you know, late game sort of decks, this card could buy you some serious time, because not only does this card have this continuous healing effect, it's thick. Your boy's thick. 6 health. It has the same stat line as Soraka, right? Which is pretty nutty, right? Unless you Culling Strike this dude, it's hard as hell to kill him. And that's very relevant for like an ongoing engine like this. Golden Ambassador, I really like this allegiance effect. Like I said in my stream, drawing a champion and granting it +2/+2 is a very powerful effect, and the stat line is not terrible. It's close to terrible, but it's not terrible because it still is a fearsome blocker, which is really neat, and it can trade into a lot of 2-drops, 3-drops, and potentially even some 4-drops as well, those who have 3 health, right? So really solid allegiance effect, because drawing a champion and granting it +2/+2 is just a very powerful effect, and you're not sacrificing that much tempo to begin with, because you're still generating a body in the process. So I really think there will be decks who benefit tremendously from this ability. Voice of the Risen, if you level the champion, allies have +2/+0. Again, going back to my Katarina deck with Destiny Poro. or Destemporo. Imagine Destemporo, House Spider, Katarina, and Voice of the Risen. You know, all of a sudden your House Spiders are just 4 2s and 3 1s. Like, that's nutty. Absolutely nutty. A deck that I will actually be building, whether it's worth a damn or not. And then Ascended's Rise, which says level up all level 1 Ascended allies. It's interesting for sure, but it does feel like a typical overcasted epic. I don't think this card will see play. I think it's too expensive, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this card enables some really nutty stuff with Ascendant champions that we've yet to see. But that is basically what I have to say regarding all these cards. Already we have a lot to talk about, and the fact that Ascended allows, like, we're reaching a point in which certain champions will level up more, which includes more level up animations as well, is exciting and a little bit worrying at the same time, in the sense that I really, because I do like certain like core mechanics to be universal, right? So now having certain champions being able to level up multiple times, ultimately it's fine. Ultimately it's fine because it's just an alternate win condition, and at the end of the day, I prefer something like this over Star Spring as a win condition that just says, oh, you win the game, because they couldn't come up with any sort of effect that would be just, you know, better than that. I mean, you don't have a better effect than that, but I don't know. They probably didn't come up with an effect that could come close to something like that. So just like, hey, Star Spring will just win you the game. You know, we don't want to do anything too convoluted here, so let's do that. So it's nice to see that Buried Sun Disc is not a copy of that. It's like, oh, if you reach down to 0, you win the game. That's like the laziest approach. I think Star Spring is a little bit lazy design, and I'm happy that they're not repeating the same mistake with Buried Sun Disc, as now, you know, you could pretty much say you win the game, but at least you're doing something, and your opponent still has the ability to survive, right, and disrupt your endgame, as, you know, overwhelming, pun intended, as it seems to be. And that's pretty much all I gotta say. Really, really interesting first set of cards. Very excited for Renekton, more so than I would expect for a champion of this nature, which is just basically melee, attack, and you know, smack your opponent hard. But really, really excited for what's to come. I think it's safe to assume that we will be seeing his brother and Azir as well. I definitely expect Xerath too. And for the last one, I would like to see, what was her name, Kaisa? You know, the laser girl. She appears in the Warrior cinematic. I think that would be the lineup that I would be expecting, even though we would be expecting 6, not 5, right? But I'm gonna go with that. What do you guys think? What other champion from Shurima are you expecting them to release, or which one would you like to see? What do you think about your boy Renekton and the Ascended mechanic? And what do you think about the Buried Sun Disc as well? And Destemporo, please. I need your feedback on Destemporo. It is imperative. Really, like, I think Rite of Dominance is one of those cards that really has caught my attention, and Unworthy as well. Really, really exciting stuff here. But that's where I'll leave it at. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed this episode of React Andy to cards and things and stuff. Have a good one. I'll see you around.